Shabbat Shalom. This is Rabbi Cat Zavis from Beyt Tikkun, a synagogue without walls. We continue this week in the story of our liberation struggle. Pharaoh, in spite of the environmental plagues unleashed on his land and people, refuses to let the Hebrews go and worship Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh. This week's Parsha begins, and Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh said to Moses, "Bo," to Pharaoh. The Hebrew word bo means come, but often when translated here, it is translated as go. Why? The commentators ask, why would God say to Moses, come to Pharaoh? Where is God? Isn't God with Moses? If God is with Moses, why is God telling Moses to come to Pharaoh? Shouldn't God be saying to Moses, as God does elsewhere, go to Pharaoh? So that is why some translations simply translate bo as go to Pharaoh, rather than as come to Pharaoh. Is it possible that God is with Pharaoh and Moses? Later in our story, when the Hebrews crossed the Sea of Reeds and the Egyptians drowned, the Hebrews celebrate with song and dance. According to the Talmud and Sanhedrin, not only do the Hebrews celebrate, but so too do the angels, and the Holy Blessed One is infuriated. The works of my hands are drowning in the sea, and you are saying the song? This is cited as proof that God does not celebrate the deaths of oppressors. The Egyptians that died in the Sea of Reeds were not average citizens. They were part of the Egyptian army and people in power. Nonetheless, the divine that is the champion of the oppressed also cares about the oppressor. God says, come to Pharaoh because God is everywhere. The divine is not limited like human beings by time and space. This can teach us a lot about how we relate to land and place. The divine is present where we build a holy mishkan for the divine. The divine dwells within us in exile, in the diaspora. In fact, when we were sent into exile in Babylonia, the divine was with us there. And it was there that Jews built a rich Judaism, a Judaism that we practice today. Equating Judaism with Zionism, or Zionism with Judaism, is an affront to this rich history. In fact, we know the divine was in Pharaoh's castle because Pharaoh's daughter Bathsheba rescued Moses from the river. And without her compassionate action, there would be no Moses. We don't know where the cracks of divine love, compassion, and justice reside, but they reside even within empire. Nor do we know how one might disrupt the callousness and cruelty of empire. It is certainly hard to see any cracks in the empires of Israel or the US at this moment, and still we should strive to find them. The divine resides everywhere. Finally, when Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh tells Moses, come to Pharaoh, I think what God is also saying is, come to Pharaoh, speak truth to power. In fact, that is what Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh has been saying all along to Moses. Don't be complacent where you are. Not only do you have to try and build a movement among the Hebrew slaves, so they have the fortitude to stand up and liberate themselves, but you also must speak truth to power, even if you are tongue-tied, and even if you don't want to. Moses' deployment was to speak truth to Pharaoh and stand up to injustice. What is your deployment at this time? How might the divine deploy you in this historical moment? Where are you being called to come or go at this time? Can you hear the divine call you? What are you being asked to do? If you don't know, aren't hearing, or are overwhelmed, which is certainly reasonable, find a quiet place, maybe in your home or in nature, and see if you can hear the divine whisper to you, or see the burning bush within or in front of you that calls you to do things that make you uncomfortable or push your growing edge of comfort. This is a time for us to learn to tolerate or even be comfortable with discomfort. This is a time to not settle for the status quo, even if we're safe and comfortable, because the status quo, both here in the US and in Israel, is one that is truly violent and horrific. It is destroying communities, families, homes, and the environment, and will continue to do so unless and until we build a big enough movement together. In the Amidah, one of the prayers includes a blessing that I translate as "Fountain of blessings are you, who gathers the dispersed in service of holy work." May we come together to find and expose the divine cracks in the world and together widen those cracks until they become the cornerstones and building blocks of a future where Shekhinah dwells amongst us and all are liberated. Shabbat Shalom. We'd love to have you join us for our next Shabbat service, Torah study, and Tu B'Shvat Environmental Seder on Saturday, February 8th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time, both in person and online. You can register and sign up below in the link. Hope to see you there. Wishing you a restful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.